Welcome to That Girl Club. We're your hosts, Kristina and Katerina, and we're here to empower you on your journey to becoming that girl in every aspect of your life. Join us as we dive deep into inspiring conversations with influential entrepreneurs and experts, sharing their insights and strategies to help you thrive. From navigating the struggles of womanhood to launching your dream business and everything in between, we've got you. So buckle up. You are about to discover what it really means to be that girl. Welcome to the club.
Welcome back, TGC. We're so excited to be here today. We're a week away from Christmas.
Yeah.
So we hope you're into the holiday spirit.
Yes.
But since we're coming up to the end of 2024, Kristina and I have, done some thinking, a little year in review. So we thought today's episode could be some lessons learned and how we intend to go into the new year.
Yeah, exactly. We just want to kind of break it down and get into our personal learnings, what we've learned from the podcast so far, which I feel like we've already learned so much. Which is crazy. We were talking about it last night. We're like, wow, this is really working. We did this, because we want to become that girl. We want to learn from people who are inspiring and who are doing the things that we want to be doing, or really just embody that person really, and success and all of those things. And we just feel frick, I feel so motivated today. I'm all the good vibes.
I know, we're pumped today.
We're very pumped. I don't know if it's the coffee, but we're pumped. We're ready to go. So, okay, yeah. So we're going to break it down. So do you want to start off and just kind of say one personal, I guess, lesson that you've learned from this year so far?
Yeah, it's been a wild
I shouldn't really
ride.
say so far. It's we're coming to the end of the year.
Yeah, we're at the end of it. It's so funny because looking back to earlier this year, even just us planning an event in January, February, it feels like a decade ago. I don't know if it feels that way to you. This year has felt so long.
It actually does. I know.
So long yet so fast. It's so weird.
I know. It's a weird, time is such an interesting, concept. It's a day feels forever, but then the week, I don't know. It's wild. Yeah.
I know. Okay. So personal lessons from 2024.
Hit us with it, baby.
I think my big one from 2024, my biggest takeaway is not to self-abandon.
Okay, and what do you mean by that?
Sounds so deep. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean that we often get wrapped up in our job, our relationship, our friendships, our, and we tend to...
And just the day-to-day even, kind of. The robotic-ness of... Yeah.
That you forget to kind of check in with yourself and pour back into your cup. And how can I frame this? When I'm all in, whether it be my relationship, my job, my et cetera.
So you give your all.
I give my all and I empty out my cup and then it leaves you drained. 2024, there were many moments where I felt that cup being empty and I felt drained. And I don't think I did enough for myself in 2024. I don't think I gave back to myself. The love that I was giving to others, I don't think I gave to myself. The effort I was putting into, creative projects, I don't think I gave back to myself.
And why do you think that was? Or why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think I just love and do with my whole heart. That's always been one of my mottos. I mean, I have it tattooed on my arm.
Do you really?
It's an old Greek word, meraki, which means do everything with your whole heart and soul.
I love that.
Put of yourself into what you do.
I didn't even know you had that. Girl, I love that.
Put of yourself into what you do. But I think I took it a little too seriously, guys.
We need to take a little too far.
We need to reel it back, okay? Because take that love and that soul and that work ethic that you have and pour that back into yourself and just make sure that you're in alignment with the path you want to be on as well. And then also make sure that the people that you have in your life are fueling you back as well, right?
It's not just take.
And you know what? You need to fill your cup before you can pour into others. And it's okay to pour into others and other things. Just make sure that thing is also pouring back into you.
I love that.
So I think that's my biggest takeaway from 2024.
I love that. And I feel like I can resonate. Well, so many people can resonate with that, right? It's so easy to, for some reason, why is it so easy to give so much love to other people and uplift other people? Like I notice I'll do it even with you, right? Like with friends, I'm like, you know, like rooting for them and talking to them in this way that's just like so loving and coming from such a place of, I guess, yeah, just love and like want for them to like be happy and successful and all these things. And I'm like, I'm preaching all this to my friends and to my family, whoever. And it's like, why can't I give that more to myself?
For
like
yourself,
I don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
It's so much harder to give that love to yourself.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that you recognize that and you know that it's something like you need to do in order to show up better
For
in
others.
These, exactly.
Yeah.
That you need to do that. Otherwise you just become so resentful. Right?
Oh, definitely. That's a whole other topic. And it's no one else's fault but yours when you're like fully
and you want to blame everyone else
self-abandoning.
because you're like, but I'm doing everything for everyone else and this and the other. And it's like, but it's at the end of the day, like you said, like you have to take responsibility because you're not putting you first and you're not being disciplined enough. Right? And I think a lot of it is discipline too. It's
creating those boundaries and then respecting them. You need to love yourself enough to stand firm in those boundaries, even when you want to give it your all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like even when you don't, like even when you want to pour into other people's cups or help that person, but you're like, okay, you know what? Maybe I can't today. Maybe I don't have the emotional capacity.
Well, that's it. By all means, like, of course, like I said, I live by doing everything with your whole heart and soul, but not when it's to your own detriment.
I agree. Okay. I love that. I think that's a good one. I'm going to take that one too.
Okay. So what's your personal lesson?
Okay, I feel like there's so many that like it's hard to choose just one because I feel like this year I've learned so freaking much. Biggest lesson is that sometimes I get very caught up in almost like sometimes destination happiness or sometimes just being not like I need to check myself, like not being grateful for like what I have and saying but I don't have that. I don't have this. I don't have this. It's like I need to focus more on like what I do have and be grateful for the things that I do have. Like for example, like when I look around, I'm like, okay, I have amazing friends in my life, right? Even if it's just like a couple of good friends I can rely on, I would so much rather that than like a bunch of
quality over quantity.
Yes, 100%, girl. And like I feel like although it's been a really difficult year for me, like personally in so many other ways, I've also learned a lot in terms of like, just like, I guess just like being grateful for the things that I do have and reminding myself that what I have is enough. And it's okay to strive for more and want more for myself, but I don't need to be so fucking hard on myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm so hard on myself and I don't give myself really any sort of like grace or credit to be like, okay, like what you're doing is enough. You're doing well. You're doing the things you know what I mean?
I can attest to that. You're so hard on yourself.
I know.
And I sometimes you're like, when you're in those modes, I'm like, but Kristina, like, look at your life. Like, look at us. We're doing the damn thing. You need to remind yourself to be present in that moment. But we all do it. I mean, hey, like me and you are.
I know. And it's because like we want big things and we have big dreams. And like, that's okay to have.
Yeah.
But I think I need to be more just sometimes like checking myself, like even if I'm like out for dinner or at coffee, whether it's with Matt, like my partner, or it's with you or a friend or whoever, it's like, be present, be happy in that moment and just take in your surroundings. Don't be thinking about, oh, like I need to get up early. I shouldn't be here. Oh, like I shouldn't eat bad right now. It's like, it's not going to be good for my body. It's like, okay, chuck that all out the window. Be where you are.
Yep.
Be happy, be grateful, be present, enjoy the people that you're around and like stop getting in your head so much.
Yeah, because we have like big wants and big dreams and whatnot. But if you're not enjoying the process, then like what's it all for? Because like we've discussed this before, like that destination keeps moving. So you're never going to catch it if you don't enjoy the present moment.
Exactly. It's like, what am I chasing? Why am I constantly chasing? I don't need to chase happiness. I have happiness right where I am.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's reminding yourself of the things you do have, because I think we tend to chase the happiness when we don't appreciate. It's like, oh, well, I don't have 10 friends. I don't have this. I don't have that. It's like, but what do you have? Bring it back to your, well, what do I have?
Yeah.
Be grateful for those things, and it'll get you into a better mindset, I feel like, of versus like being in lack versus like,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Oh, of course. And I
Yeah.
think we can all do a better job of like being grateful and just like bringing gratitude into our daily like practices. And I know you and I have tried to do this. I know like that 5-minute journal thing was all the like
The
rave.
hype,
Yeah. For the
I
longest
feel like I did
time.
that for like 5 minutes, and then I was
Well, exactly. Because it's like every day you end up writing the same 3 things.
Yeah.
So I've heard like, instead of doing that, it's just like throughout your day, just try to be cognizant of those little things to be grateful for.
the
It's
little
not
things
like
that made you happy.
Yeah, every night it was like my family, my this,
Yeah,
my
the roof over my head.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
no fucking shit, you're grateful for that,
My
bitch.
health.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's more like being like sometimes like I'll go to like Starbucks or something. Like the other weekend, I like went to Starbucks with Matt, and I was like, I feel so grateful that I'm able to buy Starbucks for starters. And like I'm getting this little like cute Christmas cup and this yummy. And I was like, oh, it's the little things, you know? And
It
just
is the
like
little
it sets
things.
your day up for success.
No, it is. And we get so caught up in the day-to-day, like you said previously,
Yeah.
that we
Oh, I don't
forget
have
that
this.
not everyone can get a $7 coffee for starters.
Exactly.
Okay. But then also just everything else in our lives. Like, oh, you know what? I'm grateful that I got to check in with Kristina today and we had a really nice chat.
Yes.
Or today I'm grateful that I got to take my dog out for a bit of a longer walk. Like, it sounds so
Yeah.
minute, but those are the little things that add up to.
The mindset shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen a lot like recently, even just like on Instagram, like social media, stuff like that. And like, it's like I think it's called the mindset shift or perspective shift, where instead of saying like, oh, I'm so tired, I went out for drinks last night, being like, I'm so like lucky that I got to go out for drinks last night. I'm a little tired, so I got to sleep in. Like that
Yes,
kind
yes.
of thing. I don't even know if that made sense.
No,
but
it did.
like,
It did. But,
Yeah.
Okay. And here's something I want to call out though, because we're coming into the end of the year, and everyone, us included, we're about to start seeing everyone posting like, this is what I did with my year.
Yeah,
These were my
here,
wins.
Bring on the recap.
These were,
like,
yeah.
we all know what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
It's kind of annoying. You're like scrolling. You're like, okay, I got it.
no, but what I want to say is,
Yeah.
is to remind yourselves of those little things, because yes, you're about to start seeing like these big ass recaps and people who made like fucking millions of dollars in 2024
And travel to all these places.
Yes, but don't forget that it's okay if all you did in 2024 was get through it. Like, be grateful for those
Yeah.
little things. Be grateful for where you are today, and just like try to remind yourself of those little things. Because I mean, also it's all a highlight reel. Like, let's try to remember.
Exactly. You're
All we're
seeing the
seeing
best
is-
moments that people want to share. And maybe those weren't even their best moments. Maybe they went on their trip and it was terrible.
Horrible.
They argued with their boyfriend the whole time or whatever it was. We don't know what's
Right.
going on behind people's,
Yeah,
behind
that's true.
closed
Behind
doors.
closed doors.
But to your point, I love that. Like I don't want us to do that. Like, let's not compare ourselves when we're scrolling on Instagram and seeing these recaps of 2024. Like you said, maybe you just fucking got through it. Maybe your friend helped you get through it.
And that's okay.
Right?
And
Maybe
that's
you
okay.
worked through something in your relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe you've grown. Maybe you've just come to a realization that
Maybe you
like,
left a toxic job. Maybe you
Yes.
left a toxic friendship, relationship situation.
it could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fucking love that. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, so the next thing we want to get into is one lesson that we've only done. How many episodes have we recorded? 5 now, right? So we've had 4 guests on the show so far. We'll be okay, guys. Math is not our strong suit,
Oh
clearly.
my gosh. Actually, it is. I was a math lead. It is.
Were
my
you?
strong suit.
Oh, see, this is the shit that people want to know.
This isn't
about
math,
you,
girl.
girl.
This is memory. Memory is not my strong.
Oh my god. Okay, I have a really good memory.
See,
That's
we balance each other.
I love that for us. That's why you're my work wife. But like, okay, so yeah, we've had 4 guests on the show so far.
Yeah.
And I already feel like we've learned so much. And
have,
that's
yeah.
really why we started this podcast.
It's wild to me just how much value has come
know.
out of even just us listening to our guests speaking. And that's what we hope others are taking with them as well, because that was the intent. It's like hearing their stories
Yeah.
to be able to pull from those insights and that value to help you get to where you want to be, to help you get to
Exactly.
like that girl lifestyle.
Exactly. And and we really just wanted to like have real people on the show who are just so much more relatable and like on their journeys, and it's just coming from more of a place of like, wow, I can totally relate because I've been in that exact shoes before, versus like yes, these people are super successful, but it's like they're still on their journey. And it's just,
and they once were where we are, where others are in their journeys too. It's so funny because they say so many things that we relate to, or, you know, we resonate with them. Kristina and I have the hardest time not like being like, yeah, exactly, like me too, or jumping in. We're always like, okay, stop fucking interrupting.
Yeah.
Let them talk. I know we relate to them, but like,
you just want to jump on it though. You're like, oh my God.
It's such good conversations that we have a hard time like
peeling it back and like listening and just be like, it's really hard.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. We struggle with that. So sorry if we interrupt people on the podcast. But all of that to say,
we
have learned so much so far, and it's just helped us, I feel like, already grow a lot and just come to so many realizations too about our own personal journeys, about our business, our brand, like everything. And I feel like just so inspired by these people. And again, this is why we started this, because we love learning from people and hearing their stories. Like, we are the biggest communicators on the literal planet. Like, all we do is just yap. And that's how we learn though, and how we grow. And that's why we did this, you guys. And we just want the same thing for all of you. So with that being said, we're going to get into one lesson each. We could pick like so many, but one lesson each to narrow it down that we've learned from the guests we've had on the podcast so far.
Yeah.
So Kat,
good idea.
Let's start us off, baby.
Me first? Okay. Yeah, to your point, there are so many good takeaways from all our guests. I think one that's top of mind, because it's something I want to bring into 2025 with me as well.
Love that.
Is when our guest, Kata Fernandez, said, it's not that deep. And that is so like transferable to so many things, because
that hits.
Oh, definitely. And I personally, and I know we both do this, and I know a lot of my friends and family do this, we get into like overthinking often, right? Like, you overthink a situation, you internalize, you take things personally, you know, something will happen at work.
Woman,
yes.
Like, we are the biggest overthinkers. Like,
yes.
Our minds are constantly going, and like men don't understand that. Like, it's literally like at all times.
You're like, there's always a wheel
There's
turning.
a to-do list, like literally just rolling through. Like,
the mental load is just like,
it's a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's overflowing. But yeah, so I think just, it's not that deep. Like, whether it's something that was communicated at work, whether it was something that was said in your friend group, whether it was something that happened, whether it's something you want to do or post or say, or, you know what, it's not that deep. And as long as you feel aligned, just fucking do it. It's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
No one cares that much. Everyone's
in the grand scheme, everyone's just doing their own life. And like, maybe someone will talk about you for 5 minutes, and then the next thing they're over it. It's like, who cares?
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
Yeah. Like, stop caring so much about what it may be perceived as, and just do the damn thing. Do what you want to do.
Just fucking do you.
Yeah.
Who cares? Fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
It's not that deep.
With love.
Yes.
Fuck everybody else.
XOX. Okay, I love that.
What's yours?
Okay, I feel like my biggest takeaway so far has been, I love that when we interviewed Adam Bracken, he had so much good business stuff to say. And I think he's such a, I think he's a really good business owner. Like, I really do believe that like the things that he said, are the reasons why his business has thrived so much and continues to thrive.
Yeah, like he embodies that true
true entrepreneur. Like, he really has it I think he has it figured out. That's kind of what I gather from him. And I think the biggest takeaway for me from a business perspective versus like personal would be that he mentioned the biggest the number one thing that he feels is what drives or makes any business successful, or I guess like any entrepreneur successful, is that you can't take your foot off the gas. Consistency is everything.
Yep.
Right? And I think that resonated with me so much, because I feel like sometimes I have a hard time when there's not a lot of momentum going on in the business. So let's say like, you know, we only record, you know, once a month kind of thing, right? So it's like, okay, if we're not recording, sometimes I'll get kind of like, okay, like, I'm not sure, like, what should I work on? What should I do? But it's like, we gotta keep that consistency going and not just take our foot off the gas because
there's a lull or like or time, you know, has passed.
Time has passed. It's like, no. You gotta keep going. You gotta come back to your why. Yeah. And that was even something that Kata touched on as well. Keep coming back to your why.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of ties in with that, but that's so important. It's like, every day you wake up, like you're not going to feel, it's like the gym. You're not going to feel motivated every single day, but you have to have the discipline of the why. Well, why do I go to the gym? Why am I, right? It's the same thing with your business. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Okay. You remind yourself of that why. Okay. Well, if I want that thing.
Yep.
What are the things that I need to do in my day to achieve that?
Yeah, because there will be things on that list you don't want to do. Like
100%.
You know, in your business, you may not want to do like the freaking accounting or vice versa, but you got to do it.
You got to get it done. It's
got to get done.
So I feel like that was my biggest takeaway so far from a business perspective.
And you have to want it bad enough, right? Like when you're hungry for it, you can't take that foot off the gas.
No, that's why your why I think has to be really strong, right? And that like consistency is super important with anything.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So
that was a good one.
Thanks, girl.
Okay,
to wrap it up,
what do you think?
Yeah, we're going into 2025.
That's it.
So
I can't believe it. 2025.
It's crazy. I feel like this is going to be a really good year, guys. Like we're on our journey together to becoming that girl.
Yep.
And we're going to have, like, we just have so much, I guess, like so many amazing guests like in the pipeline. And I'm just so excited to keep growing this with you and with everyone listening. Like, I'm just so excited. So all of that to say, okay. So now that we're wrapping up the end of the year, or we're coming to it, what is one non-negotiable, I guess, practice or just anything that you're bringing into 2025 to help you become that girl?
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so in 2025, my non-negotiable to making sure I become that girl.
You're on track.
Yeah, I'm on track. Is keeping the promises I make to myself.
I love that. How are you going to do that?
Yeah, like big or small.
Yeah.
Because that is how you build back that confidence in yourself, that trust with yourself, and reconnect to your like intuition and just keep checking with myself, right? So big or small, those promises, it's like, okay, this week or in the coming weeks, I want to go to the gym X amount of times. Got to keep that promise to myself.
And maybe like you write it down so that at the end of the week, you look at it and you be like, did I keep these promises to myself? Because it's not going to hold you accountable enough if you're just saying it in your head.
No,
okay, my promise this week is to go to the gym. It's like, write it down or tell a friend or tell a family member.
To keep me accountable.
Exactly. And then I'll check in with you and be like, bitch, did you go to the gym this week? You know what I mean? Or
that was
did
like
you
one
keep that
example.
promise to yourself? Yes. But I think that's a good way of like even helping everyone listening to keep those promises.
Yes.
If you don't have a partner in your life or something like that who can hold you accountable, write it down.
Yeah. So I think I want to go through that practice. I used to do it, you know, in the last few years. I don't feel I've actually written out those like goals, right? Because you get to the new year, everyone's like, new year, new me. And you're like, no, it's freaking not a new year.
No.
But
I've always said like resolutions I'm going to do. I'm like, it never happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't want to frame it as a resolution.
Yeah.
But what I will do, and I think that's something also we took away from the episode with Kata, is like writing out your goals. I think how she does it is really like cool and enlightening. I think I used to do this. I'm like low key a little OCD. I used to like write down everything and like color code my highlighters and like different buckets and whatnot.
I love it. It's kind of like romanticizing.
I think I need to like get back to that. I think I need to like, you know, write those buckets out, write down some of the promises I want to keep to myself this year in 2025. It could be a morning routine. I don't know. It could be my gym schedule. It could be, you know, the milestones I want to hit at work. It could be definitely the milestones we want to hit with TGC.
Yeah.
So just writing all those out and keeping those promises to myself.
I love that. It's like something that came to me while we were talking about that is I think sometimes because we have different seasons of our lives and certain years that were maybe like we were thriving at that time, or we were I think it's important to go back in your mind to those times. Like you're like, what like ask yourself, like, when did I feel really successful? When did I feel really happy? Because again, life ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of important to go back to those, to really like sit with yourself, go back to those moments, and then ask yourself, what was I doing during that time? So what were my habits?
Yep.
Right? Who was around me? Things like that, right?
Things that contributed to you feeling your best at that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, was it a gym routine? Was it a morning routine? Like, what was it to like get back to yourself and reconnect to yourself? Because I think sometimes when stressful things happen in life and we go through shit, you start to disconnect from yourself. And it's kind of what you said in the beginning, like kind of, you know,
Self-abandoning.
Yeah, self-abandoning and like reconnecting with yourself. But it just, what you were just saying right there, like about writing down your goals and all that stuff, it just kind of made me think of that, because
it'll help you stay on track.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that, because you're right. It's about, you need to like remember those times that you were thriving. You may not always feel that way, but what were you doing during those times without getting sucked into like, oh my God, I'm not there anymore.
Yes.
Now I'm
or
doing
chasing your old life.
Yes.
I'm not saying that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just wanted, I know that's not what you meant, and I wanted to make that differentiation, because it's like, without getting caught up in like what contributed to you feeling your best, and what aspects can you bring back into your current life that will help you then like start to feel that, feel confident again and thrive once more.
It's like, what habits are you leaving behind, and what are you going to be
What
like,
are
you
you
know what?
bringing
I kind of
forward
might,
as well?
I might kind of bring that one forward, because I was thriving during that time.
Yeah. So let's all sit down and write out some of those habits that we're taking with us into 2025.
I love that.
What's your one non-negotiable that you think you're bringing into 2025 to be that girl?
Okay. My one non-negotiable is that I want to connect with like my inner child. Like, I don't want to sound so like psychologist vibes, but like, I just feel like I want to like, sometimes I feel like lately, I don't know why lately, but I've been like kind of like mourning like who I was as like a kid, if that makes sense. And maybe
you've been feeling nostalgic.
Yeah, is that what nostalgic is? Okay.
Like when you think to the past and you get emotional about it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So like it's nostalgic as fuck. I didn't even know that's what that meant.
You haven't even shared this with me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It kind of just like came into my head actually, because I actually like obviously like when we were prepping for this episode, I had one kind of like in my mind that I was going to use, but like then I was like, oh, that's so surface level. Like this is actually like coming from like like my core. I feel.
I love that.
And like it's so funny. Like my mom sent me a picture a couple days ago, and it was me in grade 10, and it was like when I used to do dance, and it was like just a picture of like me posing in like this hideous like Michael Jackson blazer. Like I looked like, it was hilarious. But like,
I really want to know who chose those costumes back in the day, because like I had the same ones, and it's like, who was responsible for these outfits?
I know. Why did I look like that?
Okay.
Yeah. But like,
I'm sure you looked really cute, but yes.
At the time, I probably thought I was hot as fuck, right? So anyways, but I was like, I did dance, and like, I was just so confident, and I had a little belly top on. Like I just didn't even care. I was just like, this is me, like fuck it. And I used to do cheerleading and all this stuff. Anyways, my whole point in this is that when my mom sent me that, I remember like looking at it, and I kind of got like choked up, because I was like, I miss that girl, you know? And I feel like as we get older, we have so many, life changes so much for us. We have responsibilities, we have bills, we have jobs, we have partners, we have potentially kids, right? Whatever it is. And I just feel like we lose sight sometimes of what genuinely made us happy when we were kids. And I feel like I really miss who I was, like kind of just like being unapologetically me, and not having social media to like fuck with me, and you know, responsibilities that hold me back from doing the things that I want to do. So I think it's like, obviously, you have to have a balance. Like I can't just like fuck off and be like, hey, I'm
go
just
back
gonna,
to cheerleading.
Yeah. See ya, babe. I'm joining cheerleading again. That's tumbling.
No, of course
like,
not.
no.
Of course not. But I think there's like a bigger message that has come out of like all of this. Like even just as we're talking, I'm like, wow, like maybe the bigger message is like reconnecting to ourselves.
Yeah. And just like trying, like doing those things again and seeing like, do I even like these things anymore? Like, because I feel like you kind of like lose sight in a sense of like the things that you actually enjoy, because when you're older, it just becomes about like, I got to go to the gym because like that's what everyone's doing. I'm on social media. I'm like, oh, well, fuck, I better go to the gym. And I'm not saying like I enjoy the gym. So like that's a different story.
That was one example, but I understand what you mean.
But not
You're like,
everybody does.
You need to follow like societal, like this is what you do. You get older, you get a job, you get a partner, you settle down, you blah, blah, blah.
And you
but
just
you lose sight of
abandon your old self. And it's like, but I loved singing growing up. I loved dancing. I wanted to be a fucking actress for the longest time. I wanted to be on TV. So like, hey, like glad I am, on the camera right now.
It's so funny how similar our like childhoods were in that sense too, because I danced and I sang as well. Like we've both done like singing performances and
like we loved being on stage.
Yeah, that's so funny.
It is very funny.
And we like found each other now, but
I know, but don't you like miss that?
Catch us on Broadway next year. Just kidding.
Literally though, but like I love it, and like I want to get back to that girl again.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I think my, long story short, I want to get back to doing those things that I love again. And, maybe like I join dance again, or maybe I get into singing again, and just doing it for me.
Yeah.
Not doing it because, oh, well, there's no point in me, getting into singing again. It's never going to go anywhere. But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter as long as it's making you happy. Exactly.
Yes.
And it's something for you to do. And you have to try and do those things. Like last year I went back to a dance troupe, or sorry, this year, like earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And you just don't know.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was so much fun. And it reminded me of the early days of like going to dance class every single week.
And it just...
yes. So you know what? Another thing in 2025 is like do the things that will bring that spark back.
Yes. That's how you like rediscover yourself, I feel. Like just by putting yourself out there and either trying new things or doing the things, going back to the things that you used to do when you were a kid, and like just going for it. Like, why not?
And the thing is too, like you brought up, you go through so much shit and so much changes you, or like alters the way you like perceive things or your life.
Or behave.
And I have cried for the girl I was before certain traumas and certain situations. Like even when you're past a certain situation or trauma or heartbreak, you look back and you're like, I cry for the girl I was before this happened.
What do you mean by that? Like I see what you're saying. Like because that girl was maybe lighter and more confident or whatever it was.
And I can't be the only one who's like done this.
Yeah.
So what I want to say is like, it's okay to cry for that girl you were before that thing happened, but don't lose sight of who she was and why she was, right? Like things that have happened in your life don't define who you are. So like, don't lose sight of like what made you happy just because there are more responsibilities, or just because there's more heartbreak, or just because there's more responsibilities in your life.
Yeah. Or more failures or whatever it is.
Or more wins, or one or the other. Just don't lose sight of what made you happy.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we're going to be taking a little short break from the show just for, 2 weeks? We're going to be taking off just for Christmas, because we want to spend time with our families. We want everyone to just like disconnect as you should, and just spend time with your families or your friends or whoever makes you feel like that girl. We want you to spend your time with and be grateful, and
make sure you're filling your cup over the holidays.
Yes.
Soak it all in.
With alcohol, and fill your cup with eggnog, alcohol, and I'm just kidding. Enjoy.
And be responsible.
You're looking at me like, what the fuck?
Just joking.
Okay, love it. Okay, well, we just want to express our gratitude very quickly for all of you who have been tuning in every week and being on this journey with us. And
we can't wait to take you guys into 2025 with us.
Yes.
And Kristina, you killed 2024.
Girl, stop.
Yeah, we did. You did. We did.
Thank you.
And
likewise.
We're closing off the year.
Yep, going out with a bang.
Yeah. Step into 2025 with your right foot, guys.
Let's freaking go.
Love you all.
Bye. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
If you did, we'd really appreciate if you could like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at It's That Girl Club to stay in the loop with your girls and join us in becoming that girl. See you next Wednesday.